Thank you everyone for joining. This is cool that some people are here, hopefully of Lebanese descent, because I really want to focus on Lebanon. And please, I'm so glad to have Tey El-Rjula with us today, TEDx speaker, the invisible man. Tey, I want to get straight into it actually. I want to ask you about the invisible man, اللقب هاد. What does it signify? What does it mean? Please tell us a bit about yourself. I don't want to introduce yourself. I would rather have you introduce yourself.
Thank you so much مروان وكثير بتشكرك على I want to thank you for hosting me today here. I think the time is perfect to talk about Bitcoin and Lebanon. And why should the audience listen to me today? Because I've been there, I've done that, as they say, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. Yeah. The Invisible Man is a title that started in 2014. So I was born in Kuwait. During the Gulf War, I moved with my family to Lebanon. And during the Gulf War as well, the birth registries were destroyed. So I don't have a birth certificate to prove my place of birth. In 2010, I moved to Holland after graduating from university in Lebanon, finishing school and the whole thing. In Holland in 2014, so 4 years after I came to the country, I had to apply for asylum.
Okay.
Why? Because my dad is Syrian. I carry the Syrian nationality. My youth, I was in Lebanon. So I don't carry the Lebanese nationality. I don't have a Kuwaiti nationality. In 2014 is the climax of the Syrian civil war. And the only chance to stay in Holland was to apply for asylum. And there I saw that it's not only me who doesn't have a birth certificate, but you have thousands of people that have no documents. And without a document, you cannot open a bank account. So with the waiting times going on to sometimes years, you are waiting for your asylum process. You don't have a document to be financially included, like 1.3 billion people around the world. So this was the chance for me to use Bitcoin as a technology in order to bridge the gap between the unbanked and the banked. And there is it was that moment that the Invisible Man was like, it was the idea and the thought and the name was born, because on my driving license it's written I am born unknown.
You're born what? Sorry, you cut out.
I'm born, and on my driving license, let me put the light on and I'll show you the driving license. You can see it is like it's written I'm born in unknown. Yeah. So that is the story of the Invisible Man, and it is I mean, it's a story today of almost 5 million people living in Lebanon that they do have documents, but the banking system has failed. This is the worst thing that could happen to a country, that the people lose faith in the banking system.
Okay, طب Tay, just to backtrack شوي قبل ما نخش على Bitcoin, could you explain to us, because I know you're really big into blockchain and that, you know, the way that your life kind of changed revolved around blockchain as a technology. Can you explain to us, just for the people watching, what blockchain is, what Bitcoin is, but like in simple terms, عشان نفهم, and why it's revolutionary?
Okay, let me ask first the people attending, did they watch Netflix? Do they not watch Netflix?
Probably.
They can put their answer in the, I think most of them would say yes. There is a series called Narcos. This is from the story of Pablo Escobar. And in every series on Narcos, you see Pablo Escobar putting a small book in his pocket. So every time there is an event happening in the movie or in the series, Pablo Escobar take his book out and he writes, okay, we received today this many kilos of products. Today we have to pay these guys. These guys have to pay us. My grandfather, He's not Pablo Escobar, but he has the same habit of keeping a book in his pocket where he writes how much money did he give today to my grandma, how much money did he give to the children, and so on, who he has to meet. So he's writing events. Now, if this book is lost, the owner, in the case of Pablo Escobar, then the police can directly catch him. And this is how criminals were caught. In every single mafia movie you see, the criminal is caught through the accountant or through the ledger
Okay.
by accessing his books. The police targets the books or the accounting or the bookkeeping, and this is how they stop the criminals. In Bitcoin, it is more or less the same idea of making a book, and in this book, we write transactions. We write who is sending to what. But instead of writing names and addresses and family member names and phone numbers and all this personal data, there is a type of technology called cryptography. In Arabic, we call it at-tashfir. And it is used to create unique addresses. It is used to give access to the public to this network through these cryptographic keys. So the moment you are owning a cryptographic key, you are owning access to the Bitcoin network, and these keys have the power to unlock value, to unlock transactions. So people think that they are owning Bitcoin, while actually they are owning the keys that can access this network, which have a representation of Bitcoin in it. This is in very simple terms. What is blockchain? It's a ledger, it's a bookkeeping record, but instead to be in one pocket, whether it's the central bank governor, whether it's the commercial bank, whether it's Western Union, you are giving today your money to one entity, to one person, to one unit, to one organization. What Bitcoin is coming to say, we will follow the exact same process of accounting, but we will replicate this ledger to thousands of computers. And this means shut down this network, you have to shut down the thousands of computers at the same time. And being distributed in a neutral, borderless manner, this means that you cannot shut it down so easily as what people think. There is a very complex process of bringing down thousands of computers at the same time to stop the Bitcoin network. This is from the what we call computers that we know about. And of course, there are other computers that do not signal that they hold a Bitcoin record keeping. For example, if you are in Iran, if you are in North Korea, if you are in Egypt, these are countries where the government is monitoring the Bitcoin activity, and there are ways where you can hide the access or the ownership of a full ledger. What I'm saying as a ownership of full ledger means you are hosting the transactions from the first day Bitcoin was invented till today. So you are talking 10 years of transactions. You are talking about huge gigabytes.
Mm.
A normal computer cannot handle the hardware for it in order to host all of the transactions from day zero till today. From day zero till today, we're talking about 10 years. 10 years, the network is working 24/7, 365 days a year, non-stop. Google last few days went down as a network. The damage was in billions of euros around the world, especially large organizations that depend on Google Cloud services, while Bitcoin has never seen an outage or a service shutdown. So this is the power of the new money that is coming into the market, the new money that is competing in the largest economy on earth, which is the internet, and the most visited place on earth, which is the internet. And today the internet has its own money, which is called Bitcoin.
Okay, that's really interesting, and it's always something that I talk about with my co-founder, blockchain, and how it's reimagining the future and just decentralization. I wanted to ask you about remittances because you have a company that's called Flus, that is kind of in the sector of remittances. Can you tell us, how does Bitcoin, so first of all, remittances, for people that don't know, is just money sent back home from abroad. So whether it's a Lebanese diaspora that's sending back home money to Lebanon, Palestinians in America sending money to Palestine, that's a remittance. How does Bitcoin change remittances?
Okay, how does Bitcoin change remittances? I will give an exact scope on Lebanon, because this was one of the focus use cases on many news outlets around the world on how Bitcoin is changing in Lebanon. Today, if I want to send money to my dad, I want to send him $100. In a country where capital control is implemented, they will not be giving you $100. They will give you its equivalent in the local currency, Lebanese lira, which, because after the port explosion, they stopped that. They started giving people US dollar back. But before that period of time, my dad was receiving in Lebanese lira from Western Union, and the rate was 3,800, what the central bank has said. Many Western Union shops said, okay, but I don't have enough change for you. Would you accept 3,600? So my dad, the €100, he's cashing out at 3,600 Lebanese lira per dollar. This means he is taking in euros with the conversion around, let's say, 400,000 Lebanese lira. So every $100 is giving him 400,000 Lebanese lira. He goes to the supermarket, to the mini market under the house to buy some groceries, and he finds like Head and Shoulders shampoo is around 20, 30,000. He finds that, for example, milk has increased in price. He will find that toothpaste has increased in price. So the €100 that I sent for him is not enough anymore. Why? Because this mini market owner, he's importing his goods from outside the country, and he has to pay US dollar, and US dollar is not provided by the bank. Where would you go to get it? You will go to the parallel market, and the parallel market is selling the US dollar at 8,000 or 7,000 or 6,000 per US dollar. So now what happened is those SMEs, they have to increase their prices in order to cover for the shortage of US dollar and to pay with the Lebanese lira, convert US dollar and pay their goods and services outside. And for me as a diaspora, now I have to send €200 so that my dad can receive 800,000 Lebanese lira. So what we thought about is, okay, there are people in Lebanon who have cash at home, whether US dollar or Lebanese lira, like families of students who are studying in Canada, in the US, in Europe, in Australia, and they cannot receive money from their parents. They cannot receive their tuition fees, they cannot receive their rent, they cannot receive their electricity. In Belarusia, Lebanese students, some of them had to sleep on the streets because they were out of money. And the government in Lebanon is not doing anything to release the money that is taken hostage by the bank. So what we thought of, if this group of people, including the student families, you have the SME businesses, you have the entrepreneurs who want to renew ads, who want to renew their cybersecurity packages, who want to pay for their domain names. They want to be connected to the largest economy on earth, the internet, but the cash does not connect them. The bank is not working. Their credit cards have limits. So what is the only option available today for them? Bitcoin. So here the demand for Bitcoin started to slowly rise up. But in order for this Bitcoin to come to Lebanon, someone has to send it. So what I started doing is, instead of sending €100 to my dad in order to give him 800,000 Lebanese lira, I started sending Bitcoin to him. So I send him €50 worth of Bitcoin, and then he's able to convert that Bitcoin into cash to those groups that I mentioned before. and receive either US dollar for it or Lebanese lira at the price which you find on flus.me. So I saved myself up to 50% on the remittance, because now 100 euros is equivalent to 800,000 Lebanese lira in the market in Bitcoin. So if you have 100 euros worth of Bitcoin in USA and you send it to someone in Lebanon to sell it for cash there, they will give that someone 800,000 Lebanese lira. So I send 100 euros in Bitcoin to a friend of mine in Lebanon who bought it from me for that price, 800,000 Lebanese lira. I told him, don't send the money to me. Please, this is my home address. Can you go and give this money to my dad? He said, okay. So this is where the idea of Flus started to come. We are building a marketplace where holders of Bitcoin and like buyers of Bitcoin and sellers of Bitcoin can meet. They can make an appointment, they can do the exchange, and Flus is their guarantee that they will not be robbed, they will not be scammed, and that the transaction will go smoothly. So far, we have helped more than 75 families in that process. As the news agencies in Lebanon, like Al Jadid, Al MTV, and all these news outlets, they talk about the central bank digital currency, the BDL or Banque du Liban that want to launch, they cover Bitcoin. So they say, yeah, the Central Bank of Lebanon is gonna issue a new digital currency. A new digital currency is something like Bitcoin. And then people look where they can buy Bitcoin in Lebanon, they're coming to Flus. So we say in Dutch, geluk by ongeluk. It's like happy by accident. So by accident, the news outlets are promoting Flus without knowing. And I think the timing for us in the market was like peculiar. And hopefully we have a nice run for 2021.
Yeah.
So today, the Lebanese, the Syrians, Ethiopians, Eritreans, Bangladesh, India, every person working in Lebanon, if they have cash with them, they can convert it into something digital, something that no one can take from them, something that they control. It is under their ownership, and they decide what to do with it. And they can cash it anytime they want.
Okay, amazing. So there's a question in the chat that I also had actually. So let's say you receive, so you buy the Bitcoin from someone abroad.
Yeah.
Where do you go to convert it? Lebanon.
So let's say Marwan, he wants to send money to his brother in Lebanon. He would. Where are you, Marwan? The US, correct?
لا بالأردن. I'm in Jordan right now.
بالأردن. Okay. Let's say you are in the US. You go to Coinbase. You go to any local exchange in US, in Canada, in Europe, wherever you are outside Lebanon. You go locally, and you check locally where can you buy Bitcoin through your bank account, Visa card, MasterCard, PayPal, whatever you want to pay with. And now that you have Bitcoin outside the Lebanese borders, you are able to send it to your family, to your brother in Lebanon. So your brother now got this coin. What he will do, he will go to, I will type it in the chat, flus.me. He will click on the link, put a buy order or put a sell order. And in the comments, he will write, please, I want to give this money to, this is the name, this is the telephone number. If he's really far away from us, we send the money to him by Western Union locally. So an internal payment from Beirut, let's say, to Tripoli in the north, or we go to his house and we give it to him in cash in hand. And same process goes for people who want to buy Bitcoin. They go to the website, they say, we want to buy Bitcoin. These are our details. This is the amount I want to buy. And I want you guys to come pick up the money from my home, or we can meet in the mall next to my home, or I will send you the money by Western Union to one of my Flus team members in Lebanon, and we send for him the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Or for her even.
Okay. That's super interesting. What are your, because this seems like a very scalable operation. Do you have any plans to scale outside of Lebanon for Flus?
Definitely. Yesterday we heard from the Iraqi central bank that there is a devaluation of the Iraqi dinar. And this is an interesting opportunity for Flus to come to step in and say, yeah, we can bridge the Iraqi market with Bitcoin for Iraqi dinar cash payments. I think for Flus now, it's important that we focus on Lebanon because the hyperinflation is crazy. And definitely we have an eye on the market for Middle East. And this is why we started Flus.me. ME represents Middle East and represents me as a self-sovereign wealth owner.
Okay. There's a question in the chat. It says, what is the value of Bitcoin pegged to? How does that work?
Value of Bitcoin is pegged to the technology, is pegged to what we call the proof of work. What does this mean? So when you go and read a little bit more about Bitcoin, you will hear the word proof of work. Every computer around the world that is keeping this book I talked about, this ledger, he is performing, or it is performing a job. It is performing work. This work is called computations. They're doing mathematical calculations. They are making sure, these computers, that no one has deleted or altered any piece of data, any pixel of data from the day that Bitcoin was invented until today. So when these computers are working, they are consuming electricity and they are dissipating heat. So there is work done. As a reward is created. As a reward, value is created. And this value is Bitcoin. So in the Bitcoin protocol, in the Bitcoin software, when Satoshi Nakamoto wrote that software, he found a solution to a historical problem in computer science. And that is what we call the double spending problem. How do I prove that the dollar that is with me is not a right-click copy-paste dollar with Marwan? How do we differentiate digitally? We're talking that I have a digital dollar and he has a digital dollar. Which one of those dollars is not copied? This is what Bitcoin came to solve. So when we were able to create what we call a digital asset or something digitally unique, there exists one transaction like this from this address to this address with this information. It cannot be copied. It cannot be replicated. It cannot be deleted. It cannot be changed. It becomes a single source of truth. And all around the world, we agree on this source of information. If you read about banking and finance, at the essence of banking and finance, it is ledgers, it is databases. There is numbers written here, there is numbers written there, and they must match at the end of the day. So the value of Bitcoin is coming from collecting all this information, making sure it is immutable, keeping it up and running for 10 years and hopefully for 100 years in the future to come. But the reward is distributed among all these computers.
Okay.
And there was a limited number that looks like gold. The value was simply created. So there is a big difference between what we call the fiat money, the money that we use, the US dollar, the Lebanese lira, the euros. That is money value issued by the people, by the community. Once we decide this has value, we believe in this, the mathematics are correct, that means we have value for Bitcoin. This is how the value is pegged.
That's super interesting. There's another question which has, so I'm assuming it's asking about Flus. Are you planning to work with any other cryptocurrencies as Flus?
Someone to Lebanon, other way, let's say for students and use cases. Yeah, so it's the same thing. You mean students in Lebanon, correct, Sibel?
I'm assuming yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean actually the other way around. So you gave the example, of sending money to Lebanon, but what if parents want to send money to their to their children who are outside of Lebanon? Is there any use case?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's we try to reach جمعية أهالي الطلاب اللي بالخارج on Facebook pages, and we try to explain to them exactly the same question you asked. إنه the families inside Lebanon with the cash they have, not money on the bank. Money on the bank is gone. That you forget about it. The money that you have, if you have money cash and you want to send it to your children who are studying abroad, and you don't want to use Western Union, or you cannot use Western Union, then this cash can be converted into Bitcoin. And the students in US, in like let's say in France, Netherlands, Germany, EU, or US or Canada, wherever the most students are based, they can change that Bitcoin locally. So they receive the Bitcoin, they change it into US dollar or Canadian dollar into their bank accounts like in half an hour. So it's for us as Flus, it is easier than receiving the money from outside Lebanon into Lebanon.
Okay.
So that's what we prefer, actually. We love that people in Lebanon itself to buy Bitcoin, not to trade with it, not to wait for the price to go 50,000 and sell it. And no, this is not what we are preaching for. This is, in Lebanon, it's like a piggy bank. Any amount of cash that at the end of the month you can miss, you do not want, then you can convert it into BTC and just keep it there. Of course, you can buy a helicopter with Bitcoin. You can buy land with Bitcoin. You can buy gold with Bitcoin. You can buy US dollar with Bitcoin. You can buy motorcycles, cars. I mean, there are beauty salons in New York. They accept Bitcoin as a payment. So it is becoming globally accepted. ما عدا بلبنان, بس إن شاء الله we are changing this.
Inshallah. Apart from Bitcoin, we were having a discussion the other day, and you told me that the Lebanese diaspora is one of the only hopes that Lebanon has in terms of economic development. So what sectors and segments of the economy can the Lebanese diaspora contribute to, apart from just sending money? What do you think, in your opinion?
All right, yeah, indeed. تحت الهوا, we talked, me and you, Marwan, about the meaning of the Lebanese diaspora for Lebanon. This is my personal opinion, that the only hope for Lebanon, there's only one hope left. That's the diaspora. Why I'm saying this is because they are the gatekeepers of money for their families back home now. They are the only ones that can have access to real US dollar, to real euros, real Australian dollars, real Canadian dollars, and Bitcoin, unlike the people in Lebanon, who might have millions of dollars on their bank accounts, but they cannot cash it out. So, in fact, that means they have nothing. Plus that Lebanon, in its composition, in its environment, tech-savvy people, multi-language, I mean, they have families and connections all around the world. So let's say network-wise, it's an excellent network. And I think this year alone, 12.5 GDP of Lebanon was based on remittances. We're talking like $7 to $8 billion. Although this amount decreased compared to last year's because of COVID, and this is a global drop in remittances around the globe, but still, it's a big amount of money. So once the financial infrastructure switches to a digital one that is based on a network, that is based on a community, that is based on a people, then slowly, you will see that the money and politics will be decoupled. Some people tell me this is an illusion, هذا وهم. But 10 years ago, Bitcoin was wahm, because Bitcoin, they were trying to solve that problem since 20 years. It's not someone woke up and say, okay, today I'm going to write a white paper, I'm going to call it Satoshi Nakamoto, and here we have Bitcoin. It didn't happen in 24 hours. It took from 1973 till 2008 to find a solution. هيدي مثل صحن الفتوش. You have cucumber in it, you have lettuce, you have tomatoes, you have oil. اللي بحب سماء، يلي بحب خبز محمص، يلي بحب خبز محروق. So the ingredients لصحن الفتوش were not also born just like this. They existed in history since ages ago. Someone came up and said, okay, I'm going to mix these ingredients, I'm going to call it fatouche. Bitcoin is exactly the same thing. You have cryptography, you have distributed systems, distributed networks, consensus, statistics, mathematics, probability, economics, philosophy, psychology. Everything is mixed into those few papers where a software code was written, and this software code can run by itself on a computer to balance the book. This is Bitcoin. It's the technology. The unit of account of this software is also called Bitcoin, but with a small letter B. So sometimes when you're reading, like let's say an article, and you find in the middle of the paragraph, Bitcoin is written in a capital B. This means they're talking about the technology. And then after a few sentences, they write Bitcoin with a small b. This means they're talking about the currency of it. So going down into those small details is important to understand the whole concept of the technology.
Okay.
And this is what Lebanese people have.
Yeah. That's I كتير حبيت الانالوجي بتاع الفتوش and Bitcoin. There was actually a question
as simple as it can get, Marwan.
Yeah, that's amazing. Are you planning on working with any other cryptocurrencies apart from Bitcoin? ولا?
Yeah, that's that depends. I mean, now our focus is more on like education, awareness. Before we introduce more currencies, I want the people, نقول بالعربي يتمكن. We want him to really own what he is doing, and then we can open for them not few currencies, 5, 6, 7,000 currencies to trade with. Today we have a market cap of Bitcoin that is more than $500 billion. Just Bitcoin alone, $500 billion. So شو خلينا لغير عملات وشو خلينا اليوم انه Bitcoin as a technology is more worth as a market cap than Visa. So I think the end of 2020 for the digital e-commerce economies is still one of the best things that happened in 2020.
Yeah. Quick question. So 1 million Lebanese liras equals how much in Bitcoin? This is a question from the chat too.
Okay, we have to then divide the 1 million by 200 and I think 60. Let me check what's the price of Bitcoin now. Flus.me.
Okay.
The price of Bitcoin now is 252,000. So it dropped 252 million. Sorry. So there is a drop in prices. I think it reached to $28,000 at the max. But most probably you'll be getting like 0.0001.
Okay, cool. هلا آخر سؤال, and then I'll open it up if there's anyone that just wants to ask more questions. So what is your one prediction for 2021 in terms of Bitcoin and the Lebanese diaspora specifically? Are you positive? Like, is your outlook positive? Is it negative? What do you think?
I tell you again, the only hope for Lebanon is the diaspora. ما في غير حل تاني. No one is going to help us. لأنه مثل نقول بالعربي الناس بدهم مين يساعدها اليوم. كان either in Holland or in France or in Germany or US. I mean 22% of the whole US money in circulation was printed in 2020. عم تتخيل مروان حجم الأموال or the size of the American dollar that was printed in 2020, 22% of all US dollar in circulation.
That's crazy.
So شو معناتها هيدا؟ معناتها نحن تكون عندنا شيء كتير بالسوق, something that's really a lot, its value down, unlike Bitcoin, unlike silver. My personal prediction for 2021, based on the printing money in EU, in the US, sorry, and based on the economic developments that we're gonna see with a second wave and a third wave and a fourth wave of COVID to come, there will be a huge flock of institutional money, even money of insurance companies, money of investment companies, money of software companies into Bitcoin to hedge against the shocks in inflation. So what's the price gonna reach? I cannot tell you, I don't know, because this is not a game of price. This is a game of store of value. You're storing value there. If there is stability in the economic world, this value is stable. Is a fee inflation, is a fee negative interest rates. Can you imagine in Europe or in Holland, sorry, we have to pay the bank to save money. Negative interest rate minus 0.5%, sometimes 0%. So when you take your pension, you have to pay the bank in order to save your pension in the bank. And this concept, the pensioners, they don't like it, because this woman or man worked 30, 40 years. At the end, the money that he is getting will not buy him the same things when he was 20 and 25 or even 18. And at the same time, the bank is taking value from it. So it is these events, they will push people into Bitcoin.
Okay.
So definitely there will be more Bitcoin users. There will be a bigger Bitcoin network. There will be more Bitcoin adoption. And hopefully this will as well help lift up people in Lebanon who, entered in the Bitcoin market and begin 2020.
And I think organizations like Flus and honestly like GrowHome, which are kind of trying to be a bridge, they're trying to be a bridge between diaspora and people back home. For us specifically, it's entrepreneurs. I think, yeah. That's really going to be a shift.
Akid, because with money comes knowledge. So when I'm giving you money, I'm not giving you money min wajhi Allah ta'ala, just here, take money. No, I'm giving you money because I'm exchanging something with you. It could be knowledge. That means I am investing in you. That means a startup in Lebanon who has designed an AI face recognition algorithm and needs money to continue its work can get capital from a US investor in Bitcoin. That means I can give you a piece of information. I'm a consultant, a freelancer, a personal coach, a motivational speaker in Lebanon. And now I don't have gigs to go to. Airports are closed. And I want to sell my knowledge, but the bank cannot give me my money. And not only that, if you go to here in Holland, if I go to a bank and I tell them I want to transfer money to Lebanon, I will be somehow investigated. Okay. It will not be an easy transaction.
Okay.
So you are sending money across the globe 24/7 in matter of seconds.
Seconds?
So seconds. It takes seconds to send. I mean, we are here, how many people? We can choose someone in the group who doesn't have Bitcoin, who've never heard of Bitcoin, doesn't have a wallet. We'll download the wallet together now, and I'll send him or her Bitcoins, and we'll time how much does it take to reach, and is it really possible to send Bitcoin to Lebanon? So the exchange is not only in money, the exchange is also in knowledge. وما تنسى, again, I'll tell you, 14 million Lebanese people outside Lebanon, they are bringing their local culture, and they are bringing, for example, إنه خي ما تكب قشر الموز من السيارة. This Lebanese guy who lives in Canada, he knows that. He's programmed to not do that.
Yeah.
I used to do it in Lebanon. I used to drive, باكل فول, يلا مش back.
Yeah.
But I don't do these things anymore. Why? Because I was tamed in Holland. So now I do not cross a red signal. I abide by the law. And when I go to the Lebanon, I continue to do so. And I teach like my brother, do not, if I'm calling him and he is driving, I say, okay, when you finish driving, we'll continue the call. So these things, they go hand in hand with sending and receiving money from the country.
Yeah.
That's why GrowHome, definitely you can GrowHome, بس بقول لك بدي مصاري to grow. Okay, خيي هاي بيتكوين حتكبر.
Amazing. So there's actually a question from Zara that says, have there been any efforts at a fully decentralized banking system in Lebanon?
Fully decentralized banking system in Lebanon? That's a good question. If we are theoretically talking about fully decentralized, it can work. But that's why, and I said even Bitcoin is distributed and not decentralized. What does this mean? في فرق بين decentralization and distribution. Decentralization means that it is like on every single small device, you have a ledger.
Okay.
While distributed means on small devices or small storage places cannot have such large information of data. So you have to depend on a third party to broadcast this data for you. But those third parties are not like Google and like Amazon, just one in the world. No, anyone can be, anyone can join, but you just have to have a little bit of dedicated power for it. So yes, there are efforts to decentralize the banking system, but again, in the beginning of the conversation, I gave a hint that the problem in Lebanon is not the lira, it's not the shortage in dollar, it is the lack of trust in a banking system. Whether we do now a decentralized or a centralized or a distributed or a quasi-centralized, doesn't matter. When you use the word bank, done, you're gone. لأنه العالم زهقت وقرفت من البنوك. So there are few startups that have bank in their name and they're trying from the US to establish base in Lebanon. When they did their questionnaires, when the people saw bank, like they didn't even want to fill the questionnaires for them. So the lack of trust is a big issue.
Okay. And Zara asked the follow-up question, which is, what's the biggest barrier for using crypto in Leb? Because you just said that there's a lack of trust
in
banking institutions. So what does that translate into trust in Bitcoin or no?
مظبوط. Somehow it is difficult for people to trust Bitcoin, but once they learn that this is mathematics and not Abu Ahmed al-Najjar controlling the ledger or central bank controlling the ledger, this is pure mathematics, then the idea comes a little bit softer for them. No, do you trust that 1 + 1 = 2? Like, yes, I trust it. Okay, I'm doing 1 + 1 = 2, but on billions of data. So through education, and this is the biggest barrier for crypto, مش بس بلبنان, and all around the world, the number one missing thing is education. I graduated business economics in Lebanon, yet I did not study the history of money. I did not know what is money. They did not explain that money is a communication of value, that money is a language before it is anything else. So when you start working with Bitcoin, you will go deep into topics in cryptography, in economics, in economical theories, in many historical events that happen that show humans, since their existence, they trusted third parties with their money. إن كان الكهنة، إن كان رجال الدين، إن كان زعيم القبيلة, or banks. The first bank in the world, the first commercial bank, was established in Holland, in Amsterdam. The first stock market in Amsterdam. And the history here taught us that we should not anymore put our trust, our gold, with a central third party, our value with a central third party, because things can go wrong. So once this educational level of people about money raises up a little bit, then we're gonna see people open up. هذا الشيء مش حيصير. This is non-realistic talking. Realistically talking, what do we say? There is a 5-year-old boy. You tell him, don't touch the oven. ما تحط ايدك على الصوبيا. هيك يعني اللي بيي. يا حمار ما تحط ايدك على الصوبيا. 5 years old. But I touch it. But once I burned my hand, I knew that I will never ever touch this hot thing. And same thing with Bitcoin. The Bitcoin community in Lebanon was established 2013. We did webinars, we did workshops, we did a lot of things to help and explain people. We saw the Lebanese lira crisis coming. We told people. Nobody listened. Yeah. Sorry, I'm taking a little bit of long time, but I want to explain to you the situation there.
Please.
You know, my dad, his best friend is a banker. And they went to graduate from university together. So even like way before I was born. And my dad held all his banking relations with his friend. So one day they were sitting together and my dad is proud. Yeah, my son is in Holland and he's working with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, this was around 2013. Tell him, oh, be careful about your son because he might be caught and put in prison. He's a money launderer. So my dad got furious and he called me and said, what are you working with Bitcoin? Are you a money launderer? Are you a drug dealer? Blah, blah, blah. And he was shouting. I said, Dad, this is technology. So we didn't talk to each other for almost 1.5 years until Al Arabiya CNBC put a program about Bitcoin. And then he heard from the nice lady presenting finance at CNBC, what is Bitcoin? So this is the mentality there. And you have to change that mentality. But it will take time. Now my dad, every time the price goes up, he's the first to call me. And today he was telling, I wish I listened to you and bought Bitcoin 3 years ago. So it's too late now to tell me these things. The funny thing about this story is this banker, today in the morning, he called my dad and he told him, I have a big problem. He is going to pension. He's going on pension. And his pension money as a banker, 15 years CEO of a bank, 15 years CEO of a bank, his money is in the bank itself. He cannot take it out. And his sisters, his cousins, his uncles, all the neighborhood, they loathe him. They spit on him. And they tell him, you are the cause of our problems because we trusted you and we gave you our money to put it in your bank. It's not his problem. It is not his cause. He did not do anything bad. He's an honest, legit person. But the institution that he served for the past 30 years has given him the middle finger now. So instead of this guy telling that your son is a drug dealer in 2013, if he had just put one Bitcoin, he wouldn't have this problem now. And imagine this is a banker.
Yeah. What does a world like where Bitcoin replaces cash and stuff, like what does that look like practically?
I want to ask you the same question. What is your thoughts on a newspaper going in 1910, 1915, 1916, World War I, World War II? What do you think if there's no newspapers anymore? If we are having that discussion, قاعدين أنا وياك على الجبهة وعم ندافع عن الهولندية ضد الألمان. And we're talking, hey Marwan, what do you think 20 years from now there will be no newspapers? You would take your gun and shoot me. As simple as that. You tell me this stupid idea.
Yeah. But
this is the same thing today.
But okay,
exactly the same thing today.
So let me rephrase that question then, because I think that newspapers now, there's been a shift. There's the same core concept of disseminating information, but it's just
okay. I will give you maybe a more than accurate example. Kodak. We're taking pictures. Yeah, we're taking pictures in the camera, and then I'll tell you, Marwan, in a few years, We will be taking pictures with this. I will be able to zoom 8 times in the moon using this. Yeah, you will not believe this. Today, مين بيروح بيصغر film? Who uses Kodak films today? I remember paying one time 20,000 Lebanese liras for this Kodak film to make it in photos. It was usually like around $10. And in every corner, there is a place where you give this film and take photos out. And my mom would scold me, make sure it doesn't see the sunlight. Be careful while you're carrying it. Yeah, today I take a picture, I send it all the way to Lebanon, and I do a video call and I watch Netflix all at the same time. So we just started with Bitcoin. If people are thinking we're too late, we cannot enter, yeah, it's still really early. Because we have to go to that level you're talking about, where it is used on a wide basis and cash money becomes obsolete.
What does that look like? So what, like 10 years you give it, 15?
Yeah, I think we take 50 to 100 years.
50 to 100.
I think so.
Oof.
Because remember that cash is king. And this king has been ruling since man emerged on earth. We still used physical stuff. We used stones, we used shells, we used cows, we used a lot of stuff to exchange. So when we want to go from tangible to intangible exchange of value, here you must accept it.
Yeah.
Not one person, not two person, not just those 5, but everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Zara asks, how do you educate against crypto misuse?
How do we educate? Webinars. Usually webinars, we put things on Facebook, we put things on LinkedIn, and we share our mistakes.
What does crypto misuse look like, Awalishi?
Crypto misuse. Okay. Crypto misuse, masalan, you will get an example, you will get a message or an email that says, if you send me today 500 euros, I will double it for you and I'll give you Bitcoin 24 hours. Don't do that. If you bring 10 people from your network and you bring 5 people from his network, you will earn 100 euros every month in Bitcoin. Like the MLM marketing schemes. Don't do that.
Forex.
Forex, don't do that. Trade only if you are a professional trader. If you know what is a dead cat bounce, if you know what is a head and shoulder, if you know what is a reverse cup, if you know these technical and fundamental trading analysis, go ahead and trade. But if you are just new to this world and you want to explore and you to discover, you buy a small quantity with your euros or US dollars and you play with a wallet. You download a wallet. I'll put a wallet name here, blockchain. Blockchain.com. These guys, they have around 5 million users on their platform. يعني عندهم لبنان كله على شقفة software. And they are the early people to release a Bitcoin wallet. The Bitcoin wallet is the place where you store your addresses and where you store your coins. It is your access to your Bitcoin. Usually, there are companies that sell you this access. Yani, you do not. This is like Coinbase, like Binance, like all these platforms we see on the internet. While what I advise for is people to hold their own Bitcoin, to own their own Bitcoin. So the misuse here can happen out of bad intention. Someone tricks you to send this Bitcoin to another wallet in return for a higher percentage. Don't do that, because once your Bitcoin leaves the wallet, you cannot get it back. No one can get it back for you. Tell you it is not protected by law. There is no law around the world that says if you lost your Bitcoin, we can give it back to you. This doesn't exist. And Flus in Lebanon focuses on that piece as well. We preach what we do. So we don't store the Bitcoin. we tell people store it on your own phone, and we teach them how to do this, so that كانوا بيقولوا علم الصياد على انه يصطاد ولا تعطيه سمكة كل يوم. So we teach people how to use a wallet, how to back it up, how to send, how to receive, and we make sure that the transaction is smooth, is safe, and that no one will be scamming you. So those are the two major titles in working with Bitcoin. Custodial wallets, that means there is someone taking custody of your coins. Non-custodial wallets, that means the Bitcoin is under your control. So bad intention is someone tricking you and taking your Bitcoin away through phishing attacks, through SIM swaps. صار في قصة بلبنان انه في حدا كان في شركة تليفون بلبنان عم يسرب اسماء وارقام تليفون وايميلز لشخص او اشخاص عندهم بيتكوين. فهون عمليه السيم سواب انه واحد يبدل السيم كارد. يعني انا I come to impersonate Marwan, like cybersecurity infrastructure in Lebanon is not that strong. In this case, this is the bad intention. Sometimes it's out of own mistake. I forgot my backup keys in 2013. I lost 77 Bitcoins. 77 Bitcoins, you're talking about today more than $1 million. I can look at them at the screen, but I cannot touch them. Why? It's because I do not have those keys. They're gone. I did not back up my wallet. My phone crashed. And I said, I'll download the wallet again and they will appear. They didn't appear. And then when I did a little bit of research, I found, oh, I did not back up my wallet. So now the first thing that we do, learning from that experience in 2013, bring it in 2020, and we say to people, first thing that you do is please download or back up your wallet.
So it's education. It all revolves around education.
Education, طبعا, education and personal experiences. يعني ما حدا, people learn from their own mistakes.
Okay.
And this is one of the disadvantages of Bitcoin. It's very new, it's very fresh, and there is no source of information that we can depend and rely on. I did my master's in digital currencies and blockchain technology. So I went through a 2 years educational process, academic background, to understand all the concepts and go deeper into the technology. And this is where it accumulates to my professional experience being a miner in the Netherlands from 2012. And yeah, then those two get combined together and you are able to serve your people in the best way possible.
I agree. Tey, this is so cool, and thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. I think there's a lot of synergies between GrowHome and Flus that we're going to be exploring. I don't want to say too much about that, but thank you so much, Jad, and thank you to everyone that came. Thank you to everyone that's listening, that's not listening live.
Do we still have 10-15 minutes?
احكي لي, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We have Zara, Abdul Rahman, Timothy, and Muhammad. I don't know. You can write their names on small pieces of paper. وعمول قرعة. And I'll send any of these guys $5 worth of Bitcoin.
Okay.
Or someone, or you, if you guys, يعني منكم الأربعة, you can open your mics if you want. إذا ما حدا معه Bitcoin, you don't have a wallet, you've never used it, let's do a wallet now. I can send live like $5 worth of Bitcoin. I've done this the whole year, yani, through all the webinars, and like until today, they send me screenshots of their wallet. Like the 5 is 15, some people the 5 is $20.
That's amazing.
So
okay, let's do it.
Bitcoin goes to 50, 100,000, and then your $5 is worth something in the future. But the best way, to be honest. So everything that I've talked can make sense for everyone if we do a live transaction. And if you don't want to do it, that's, I also understand. That's
no, let's do it right now. Who
the process takes 10 minutes. So it's up to you guys.
Is anyone willing to receive free money? I don't.
To do the draw as they suggested, maybe.
طيب يلا. Let's go for the lot. Timothy, can you go GrowHome? Marwan, please, can you go for the lot?
Hi, I'm so sorry. Isma, my internet just cut out, so I didn't hear what just happened. اشرح لي.
I was saying Muhammad suggested that we go for the lot, and Abdul Rahman said we can go for the lot, and Zara said let's go for the lot. So write the names.
Yeah.
Do the draw, and we'll see. And it doesn't hurt for everyone to go to their blockchain. Like go to your app store or Google store, blockchain wallet. The logo looks like a hamburger, a blue hamburger. Just download this, save it on your on your phone, and then they will ask you for your email, and they will ask you for a password. The password that you will put must be not password 123. It will recognize it's not a strong password, and it must have a capital letter, a small letter, a number, and a symbol. So once you've done that, your wallet will open.
So can you repeat the name?
We go to Play Store. We can type in the search section blockchain, as I'm writing it here, blockchain.
By the way, I just did the draw and it's Muhammad. So
okay.
Cool.
So the blockchain wallet, once you download it, it's updating on my so that's how it looks. The blue one.
Okay.
Tey, do you want to share your? Are you gonna do it? Yeah, you're just gonna do it through your phone.
I'm doing it from my smartphone.
Amazing, amazing.
Okay, I will open my. So once the wallet is downloaded, you will click on register or open account.
Create wallet.
Create wallet. And then you put your email, you put a good password, and you are in your what we call the dashboard. Now the dashboard will show you what you have in US dollar, 0, what you have in euros, 0, what you have in pounds, 0, Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, Stellar, Algorand, Wrapped, DGLD, USD Digital, Tether. من هول كل الكرنسيز اللي انا قلتهم اهم اثنين لازم تعرفون هو التثر هو البيتكوين. شو البيتكوين كاش؟ It's another form of Bitcoin. شو معناتها هذا الشيء؟ That means there are some people that don't like انه البيتكوين لوجو لونه اورنج، انا بدي اعمل لوجو احمر. You can do that, but you cannot change the first Bitcoin blockchain logo. You can create your own Bitcoin blockchain. So انا بعمل Bitcoin logo احمر and I call it Bitcoin Cash. بعمله اخضر me Bitcoin Cash. So now I have computers around the world that instead of creating Bitcoin with the orange logo, they create a Bitcoin from a green logo starting from this time. يعني كل شيء أنا اشتغلته in the past stays the same, Bitcoin orange logo, but starting from 7/10 today until the future, any Bitcoin that will be created in a green logo. So here we have now what we call two chain. We have two blockchains. We have one blockchain with a green logo. We have one blockchain with the orange logo. The more users, the more demand, the more power of any of those two chains is the one that the biggest one is the one that people will follow, because it's naturally the oldest one. It's a pure form of Bitcoin. It's unchanged protocol in Bitcoin. فهيدي هي فكرة البيتكوين كاش والبيتكوين. وفي بيتكوين جولد وفي كتير variations of Bitcoin. So always when you are sending or receiving money, make sure you are receiving Bitcoin and not any other source or form of Bitcoin, because you need to have that wallet then. It will not be accepted in the Bitcoin network. So once more, نزلنا الوالت، نزلت عنا على التليفون. We pressed on create account. They ask us for an email, for a password. The company does not share your emails with Google or third parties to sell you advertisements. That's not the purpose of taking your email. The purpose of taking your email is to back up your wallet. So once we are inside the dashboard, inside the wallet, on the I don't know if you can see it. هاي الداشبورد، هيدا المنيو. We click on it. عندي earn interest. So if you have Bitcoin, you can give it to this wallet and they will give you interest on your money. Of course, this is not أبو أحمد النجار عم يجي لعنا أنا أعطيني $50 اليوم بيتكوين، بكرة بعطيك إياه up the funds. Why? Because those keys that I talked about, those keys that you can access the Bitcoin network with, they are created from your backup. So backup means if you lost your phone, if your phone is damaged, if the company disappeared, if, I don't know, aliens came to Earth and they kidnapped the whole company and the company is gone, your money is safe because you have the backup keys to your wallet. That means in any new software, if you those backup words immediately reflect in your balance. So what do we need for this? ورقة وقلم, pen and paper. Pen حبر مش رصاص, because pencil رصاص with time the words will disappear. Paper, pen, ink على ورقة. We follow those 12 word backups. So I will write it down on paper, you press next. You see the other word, you press next. You write them exactly how you see them in the same order. So Mo, bus to write those 12 words and to make sure that you have backed up your wallet.
I'm okay. I'm done.
Okay, so you backed up your wallet.
Yes.
Perfect. Now on the lower swap, and you will see my Bitcoin.
في swap و send request.
Okay, request.
Okay.
So what do you see?
I see the list of.
Okay, can you click on Bitcoin orange logo?
Yeah. QR code.
Nice. This QR code هيدا بنقول له public address. هيدا ال QR code everyone around the world can see it. With everyone around the world, you can share it. You can put it on your website. You can put it on your Manaish shop. You can put it on your shoes shop. You can plug it everywhere. Anyone who sees that QR code and who has a Bitcoin wallet can take his phone, even if it's a different application. Again, this is your public key. This is what everybody sees, and this is what you can receive money with. Under this QR code, there is a long letters and numbers. Correct, Mo? This is your wallet address. It is the same as the QR code. شو الفرق؟ الفرق أنا وقت أكون قاعد ورا اللابتوب I want to scan a QR code or I want to type a wallet address. That's the only. What I want you to do is I want you to copy this address, all right? And you can go to flus.me and you see a WhatsApp logo on flus.me. I want you to click on it and send me that wallet address in a WhatsApp message.
All right.
Okay, I didn't get it yet.
Just not taking me to WhatsApp.
Okay, let's put it on this chat then.
All right.
How do we find the QR code again? Zara was asking. Zara, you go to request and you go to receive. You see receive. When you press request, it will open the QR code. Where do you see the request? It's at the bottom of your application. بكعب الapplication في هون transfer. I have a transfer, not send and receive. So you click on transfer and you click on Bitcoin and receive. Sorry. So your QR code needs to open. So that's how, for example, it looks like. When you click on receive, this is what you will see is the address. No, Muhammad will get $5 in dollars worth of Bitcoin. So Muhammad can go tomorrow to the office of Flus and say, this is the $5 in Bitcoin. I want Lebanese lira. And we exchange for him $5 in Bitcoin price that he sees on flus.me. So let me know more when it's on Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah, just a second.
Strange.
I'm sending it publicly. Yeah, this is the public
No problem.
address.
بس أنا